Ahead of the United Nations UN General Assembly slated for September 2025, the President of France, Emmanuel Macron, on Thursday issued a statement and said that France will recognize the State of Palestine at the UN coming meeting of heads of states as a way to put an end to the war in Gaza so that the civilian populations in the Palestinian city can be rescued, also describing the move as France's historical commitment to a just and lasting peace in the Middle East. The Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, within an hour issued a counter-press statement and said that the State of Israel condemned the decision of France's president to recognize the State of Palestine, stressing that such move by France rewards terror and risks creating another Iran proxy that will be a launch pad to annihilate Israel. According to the President of France, Emmanuel Macron, true to its historic commitment to a just and lasting peace in the Middle East, I have decided that France will recognize the State of Palestine. I will make the solemn announcement at the United Nations General Assembly next September. The urgency is today for the war in Gaza to end and the civilian population to be rescued. Peace is possible. There is an immediate ceasefire, the release of all hostages and massive humanitarian aid to the people of Gaza. We must also guarantee the demilitarization of Hamas, secure and rebuild Gaza. At last, it is necessary to build the State of Palestine, ensure its viability and allow that by accepting its demilitarization and fully acknowledging Israel, it participates in the safety of everyone in the Middle East. There is no alternative. The French want peace in the Middle East. It is up to us, the French, together with Israelis, the Palestinians, our European and international partners, to demonstrate that it is possible. In light of the commitments that the President of the Palestinian Authority made to me, I wrote to him my determination to move forward. Trust, clarity and commitment. We will win peace, the French President stated. In a swift reaction, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu reacted and said, "We strongly condemn President Macron's decision to recognize a Palestinian state next to Tel Aviv in the wake of the October 7th massacre. Such a move rewards terror and risks creating another Iranian proxy, just as Gaza became. A Palestinian state in these conditions would be a launch pad to annihilate Israel, not to live in peace beside it. Let's be clear, the Palestinians do not seek a state alongside Israel, they seek a state instead of Israel." Meanwhile, it would be recalled that Daily Sabah news media on May 28, 2025 reported that Indonesian President Prabowo Subianto said he would consider diplomatic ties with Israel only if it recognized a Palestinian state, speaking during talks with French President Emmanuel Macron in Jakarta. Indonesia, the world's most populous Muslim majority nation, has no formal ties with Israel and has consistently called for a two-state solution to the decades-long conflict. On various occasions, I have said that Indonesia sees the two-state solution and the freedom of Palestine is the only way to achieve the true peace, he told a news conference. I also emphasized that we must acknowledge and Clearwater Police Department in Florida, United States has confirmed that World Wrestling Champion Terry Bolley aka Hulk Hogan died on Thursday morning around 11:17 a.m. after the personnel of the Clearwater City Fire and Police Departments responded to an emergency medical report at about 9:51 a.m. and administered first aid treatment of cardiac arrest to Hulk Hogan before he was rushed to Morton Plant Hospital where he was pronounced dead. According to the Clearwater Police Department in a video press briefing held a few hours ago, the Clearwater Fire Department and Clearwater Police Department personnel responded to a medical call at 9:51 a.m. today in the 1000 block of El Dorado Avenue on Clearwater Beach. The nature of the call was for a cardiac arrest. A 71-year-old resident, Terry Bolley, also known as Hulk Hogan, was treated by Clearwater Fire and Rescue crews before being taken by Sunstar to Morton Plant Hospital, where he was pronounced deceased. Major Nate Burnside briefed the press about the police and fire response to a medical call involving Terry Bolley, also known as Hulk Hogan. A video of the scene outside Hogan's residence shows responders desperately trying to save his life as he was transported to an ambulance. In the clip, several paramedics appear to be conducting chest compressions as Hogan is wheeled to the emergency vehicle. It may be recalled that a few weeks ago, Hogan's wife, Sky, whom he married in September 2023, denied rumors he was in a coma, stating his heart was strong as he recovered from surgeries. Some local media in the United States had reported last month that Hogan was on his deathbed, but the reports were denied with statements that as at the time he was just dealing with the symptoms of a neck procedure he underwent in May 2025. The global sports icon, Hulk Hogan, undoubtedly transformed professional wrestling into a family entertainment sports. Before Hulk, wrestling catered to a fairly narrow audience. Hulk's theatrics in the ring were magnetic for children and their parents, and it supercharged the sport. Hogan kickstarted a pop culture phenomenon with Hulkamania, after defeating the Iron Sheik for the World Heavyweight Championship in 1984, a craze that never went away, and his signature bandana and handlebar mustache were often copied by fans in crowds for decades. In 1996, Hulk created the NWO, New World Order, and became Hollywood Hulk Hogan. It propelled him and professional wrestling to even more fame. Hogan had countless iconic performances, which included a matchup against Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson at WrestleMania X8 in 2002 and a face-off with Andre the Giant at WM3, and had memorable feuds with Ultimate Warrior and Randy Savage. Hulk was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2005. He was removed in 2015 after a scandal erupted over racist comments while he was being secretly recorded during a sexual encounter. Gawker posted the clip and Hulk subsequently sued, winning the lawsuit. Hulk was inducted a second time in the WWE Hall of Fame in 2020. This family of the late Nigeria former president, Muhammadu Buhari, on Sunday issued and released a letter of appreciation to people who sent in condolence messages after the former Nigeria president died on Sunday, July 13, 2025 at a London hospital, but the Buhari family mentioned several names they considered as notable people among those who sent in condolences, which some of them did not attend the burial ceremony and apparently ignored three former presidents of Nigeria that were major rivals to the late Muhammadu Buhari's presidency, despite the fact that former presidents Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, GEJ, Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, IBB, and Olusegun Obasanjo, OBJ, were among the notable personalities in the society to send condolences early enough to the family and the nation at large exactly same day Buhari died, while OBJ personally issued video press release to mourn the death of Muhammadu Buhari. GEJ, after issuing condolence message, visited the family of late Buhari in London the next day to console with the bereaved family, and also, IBB, after mourning the demise of late President Muhammadu Buhari, sent his children led by Mohamed Babangida to Katsina State to pay the family and the people condolence visit over the death of the late former head of state, Muhammadu Buhari, that was ousted out of power as then Nigeria military head of state on August 27, 1985 by IBB in a bloodless coup that led to the arrest and detention of Buhari at a prison facility in Benin City for almost 3 years. Olusegun Obasanjo took over as Nigeria head of state in 1976 after Buhari's close associate in the Nigeria military, Murtala Muhammad, was assassinated on February 13, 1976, a military head of state which Buhari was part of the group of officers that overthrew the government of General Yakubu Gowon and installed the assassinated Murtala Muhammad as head of state after the late Murtala Muhammad led the 1966 Nigerian counter-coup in overthrowing the military regime of Johnson Aguiyi Ironsi and played a major role during the Nigerian Civil War and thereafter ruled Nigeria from the 29th of July 1975, during which he made Muhammadu Buhari became the first governor of Borno State following the division of the northeastern state into Bauchi, Borno, and Gongola states on February 3, 1976. After Obasanjo became military head of state, Buhari served as governor of Borno from February 3, 1976, to March 15, 1976. During the era of Murtala, Buhari was previously appointed as the governor of the northeastern state from August 1, 1975, to February 3, 1976 until the division of the northeastern state and the subsequent creation of 3 states from the region. Obasanjo was a major political contender to Buhari after Nigeria returned to civil rule in 1999. Obasanjo defeated Buhari in the 2003 election and led his political party candidates, Umaru Musa Yar'Adua, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, to defeat Buhari in 2007, 2011 respectively, and in 2015, Obasanjo. It has been a sad Monday in Dhaka, the capital of Bangladesh, as one of the Bangladesh Air Force training planes crashed on students while they were taking test examinations and some of them attending regular classes at Milestone School and College, with 19 victims already confirmed dead by local authorities while over 100 persons, mostly students, are hospitalized. This, the head of interim government of Bangladesh, Muhammad Yunus, has assured the public that the government of Bangladesh will carry out investigation to ascertain the cause of the military plane crash, as some of the victims were seen walking out from the burning flames with almost completely burnt bodies. It was gathered that the plane crashed immediately after takeoff around 1 p.m. local Bangladesh time, which was 7 o'clock a.m. GTM. According to Hindustan Times, a Bangladesh Air Force F-7BGI training aircraft crashed into a college campus in Dhaka, killing at least 19 and injuring over 100 people. Local media reported that the leaders and activists of Bangladesh Chitra League faced a brutal mob attack while donating blood to save the injured students of the Milestone School plane crash. Military and a fire official said the Bangladesh Air Force F-7BGI aircraft crashed into the campus of Milestone School and College in Dhaka's Uttra neighborhood on Monday afternoon, where students were taking tests or attending regular classes. Saidur Rahman, a National Burn Institute official in Dhaka, told Bangladesh's leading English daily, the Daily Star, reported that the death toll rose to 16 within hours as reported by CNN, and a few hours later, the Daily Star updated its reports to 19 confirmed dead and 100 persons injured. Parents and relatives panicked at the scene as rescuers, using tricycle rickshaws or whatever was available, transported the injured. Rafika Taha, a student at the school who was not present at the time of the crash, said, according to the Associated Press report, that Milestone School and College, with some 2,000 students, runs classes from elementary to 12th grade. On Monday, she said, some students were taking tests while others attended regular classes. I was terrified watching videos on TV, said the 16-year-old student. My God, it's my school. The Bangladesh Army's Public Relations Office confirmed in a brief statement that the downed F-7BGI aircraft belonged to the Air Force. Fire official Lima Khanum stated by phone that at least 1 person died and 4 others were injured, though she did not provide further details. A 3rd grade student was brought in dead, and 3 others, aged 12, 14 and 40, were admitted to the hospital. Bidhan Sarkar, head of the burn unit at the Dhaka Medical College and Hospital, where some victims were taken, said, according to Reuters news agency. Muhammad Yunus, head of Bangladesh's interim government, said, necessary measures would be taken to investigate the cause of the accident and ensure all kinds of assistance. The loss suffered by the Air Force, students, parents, teachers and staff, and others in this accident is irreparable, he said. Yunus also announced that an emergency hotline has been activated at the National Institute as multiple wars in the Middle East appear unabated. Israel, the main defender and attacker on multiple waterfronts in the city of Gaza, Lebanon, Iran, Yemen and now Syria, has ordered the Israel Aerospace Industries, IAI, to mass-produce Arrow missiles interceptors in a very large numbers, with the Israel Ministry of Defense saying that the State of Israel has increased its defense spending for 2025 and 2026 to 42 billion new Israeli shekels, which is approximately $12.5 billion. During the 12-day war with Iran, there were multiple reports that Israel was running low on Arrow missiles interceptors defense system as Iran long-range missiles were seen hitting targets in Israel. Aerospace observers said the advanced Arrow high-altitude defense systems are critical to countering long-range ballistic missile threats, like those launched from Iran during the 12-day war in June 2025. According to the Israel Ministry of Defense in a press statement on Thursday, the Director General of the Israel Ministry of Defense, IMOD, Major General, Reservist, Amir Baram, signed a production contract to significantly accelerate the serial production of Arrow interceptors at IAI, Israel Aerospace Industries. As part of the deal, IAI will supply the IMOD with a significant additional amount of Arrow interceptors. The deal was led by Moshe Patel, Director of the Israel Missile Defense Organization, IMDO, within the ministry's Directorate of Defense Research and Development, DDRD. The Arrow system, developed and manufactured in cooperation with the U.S. Missile Defense Agency, MDA, demonstrated significant interception capabilities during the Swords of Iron War, especially during Operation Rising Lion. The system provides exo-atmospheric and endo-atmospheric interception capabilities against ballistic missile threats, protecting the state of Israel from strategic long-range threats. The Arrow system integrates cutting-edge technologies and is considered one of the world's most advanced air and missile defense systems. IAI is the prime contractor for developing the Arrow system and its interceptors through its MLM facility in partnership with the U.S. company Stark Aerospace. Other partners include IAI's ELTA and TAMAM divisions, Elbit Systems, TOMA, and Rafael Advanced Defense Systems. The U.S. Missile Defense Agency, MDA, is a major partner of the IMDO at the ministry's DDRD in the development and production of Israel's multi-layered defense systems, including the Arrow and David's Sling weapon systems, and the production of Iron Dome defense system components. The strategic cooperation between the MDA and the IMDO helps ensure Israel's technological edge in air and missile defense. Also on Thursday, Israel Aerospace Industries, IAI, in a statement said, Israel is reinforcing its defenses on all fronts, at full speed. In a major move to strengthen national security, the Ministry of Defense has signed a significant production contract with Israel Aerospace Industries, IAI, to fast-track the mass production of Arrow interceptors. This strategic, shortly after Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu returned from the United States, U.S. on Sunday, where he had paid an official visit to the U.S. President, Donald Trump, lawmakers and other U.S. government officials. The misunderstanding between Bedouin and Druze tribes in the Swaida region of Syria that started last Friday took a new twist, evolving into a deadly conflict after a Druze man was robbed at gunpoint on Friday by gunmen suspected to be natives of Bedouin tribe. Druze residents in Swaida shortly on Friday mobilized, went after the people of Bedouin, arrested and detained a lot of natives from the Bedouin tribe, forcing the people of Bedouin to retaliate, and the conflicts led to mass killings, unabated. And on Tuesday, the Syria interim government soldiers entered Swaida reportedly to restore law and order, but Israel-based media reported that the Syria interim government soldiers, mostly members of the Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, HTS, assisted and joined the Bedouin militias to kill the people of Druze, and in a swift response, the office of the Prime Minister of Israel, in a press statement on Tuesday, said, the Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, and the Israel Minister of Defense, Israel Katz, have authorized the Israel Defense Forces, IDF, to attack Syria interim regime forces led by Syria interim President Ahmed Hussein al-Shara, who Israel Policy Forum, in a publication published in December 2024, stated that the new Syria presents fresh challenges for Israel, stating that the Turkey-backed Sunni jihadist group, Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, HTS, was an al-Qaeda's former Syrian branch, and its leader, Abu Muhammad al-Golani, also known as Ahmed Hussein al-Shara, who is the current interim president of Syria, was a member of an early version of the Islamic State, saying, Golani's chosen last name also foreshadows conflict over territory, that his family hails from the Golan Heights, which Israel partly occupied after the 1973 war and annexed in 1981, although President al-Shara in nationwide broadcast on Thursday after ceasefire began around 9 p.m. on Wednesday night said that the protection of Druze people is a top priority in his interim government, but he's not afraid of Israel that bombed the Syria military headquarters and the military base near Syria Presidential Palace in Damascus on Wednesday that led to the death of 5 persons in addition to more than 300 people killed. Less than a week the new conflict ensued. According to Reuters reporters, warplanes swooped low over the Syria capital and unleashed a series of massive strikes on central Damascus. The cityscape was blanketed in smoke with a thick plume rising from the defense ministry. We are acting decisively to prevent the entrenchment of hostile elements beyond the border, protect Israeli citizens, and prevent harm to Druze civilians, the Israel Chief of General Staff, Lieutenant General Eyal Zamir stated during a situational assessment at the Syrian border after the IDF strikes on Wednesday. The attacks carried out by Israel, this time on central Damascus, following its military interventions in southern Syria, constitute a deliberate attempt to sabotage Syria's efforts to achieve peace, stability, and security. Turkey President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has confirmed and announced the death of the Nigeria immediate past president, Muhammadu Buhari, at a London hospital at about 4:30 p.m. on Sunday, after years of rumors and speculations by the detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, that the person that ruled Nigeria for the last 8 years died few years after he took over office on May 29, 2015. The news of former President Buhari's death came at a time the ex-president was a major point of discussion during the preceding week after the personal media aide to the late president, Garba Shehu, confessed he lied to cover up the health issues of the then President Muhammadu Buhari, a confession the indigenous people of Biafra described and said that the Garba Shehu's confessional statement about the use of the Villa Rat invasion story to cover up former President Muhammadu Buhari's illness vindicates its detained leader, Nnamdi Kanu, who had speculated years ago, starting from 2018, that the real Muhammadu Buhari died few years after assuming office, that the man that ruled Nigeria for the last part of first tenure and second tenure was Mr. Jubril al-Sudani from Sudan. In a statement on Saturday by the Biafra Group's spokesperson, Emma Powerful, IPOB said Kanu was the first to expose Buhari's health condition and was persecuted for it. The group described Shehu's confession as a delayed confession born out of guilt and irrelevance. Where was this honesty when the Nigerian people needed it? Where was this truth when IPOB and our leader were being vilified, jailed, and labeled terrorists for speaking it? If this level of deliberate misinformation had happened in any sane society, those responsible would be in jail for subverting the constitution, undermining national security, and deceiving the electorate. But Nigeria rewards mediocrity, protects liars, and punishes truth-tellers. The truth is like the rising sun, it cannot be suppressed. Today, Garba Shehu has confessed. Tomorrow others will follow. Aso Rock is a house built on lies, and the foundation is shaking, the statement added. The former president, Muhammadu Buhari, had begged for forgiveness if he had done anyone wrong. In 2023, he said at a gathering that, "Whoever thought that there has been some form of injustice on him, we are all humans. There is no doubt I hurt some people, and I wish they would pardon me, and those who think that I have hurt them, please pardon me." Late President Muhammadu Buhari stated this in May 2023, according to the video republished on X social media platform on Sunday by one of his former media assistants, Bashir Ahmed. According to the press release by the president's spokesperson, Bayo Onanuga, President Tinubu has directed the Vice President Shettima to travel to the United Kingdom to accompany the body of the former president back home. The statement reads in quotes thus: President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has announced the passing of his predecessor, President Muhammadu Buhari. President Buhari died today in London at about 4:30 p.m., following a prolonged illness. President Tinubu has spoken with Mrs. Aishat Buhari. Anambra State Command of the Nigeria Police Force has repelled the simultaneous sporadic heavy gun shooting in Oko and Equilobia, when two separate groups of unknown gunmen engaged men of the Oko Divisional Police Headquarters in the Arumba North local government area in an early morning gun battle, and another group took over the Equilobia flyover bridge in the Aguata local government area of the state on Wednesday, resulting in the death of two members of the public and set ablaze the patrol vehicle of Agonichemba, the state special vigilante group, which, police said one of the attackers was killed during the deadly gun battle. And on Thursday, the police issued new updates, stating that an additional AK-47 rifle has been recovered from one of the fleeing assailants, while Biafra armed group, the Biafra Defense Forces, in a tweet on Thursday specifically denied any involvement in the mass shooting at Equilobia, stating, "Those impersonating them will one day run out of luck." According to the Biafra Defense Forces, the said incident that occurred yesterday at Equilobia is not in any way connected to Biafra Defense Forces, BRF, BNF, BLA, and BAF. Those impersonating BDF will one day run out of luck. Biafrans beware. Anambra State Police, in a new updates on Thursday, said that the police-led joint security force at Aguata recovered an additional AK-47 rifle with a fully loaded magazine in the late hours of the 9th of July 2025. The weapon is believed to have been abandoned by fleeing armed criminals following a sustained pursuit by security operatives. This development follows a violent incident in which assailants opened fire indiscriminately under the Equilobia flyover and launched an attack on the Oko Divisional Police Headquarters earlier the same day. The Anambra State Police Command acknowledges and appreciates the continued cooperation and support of residents within the affected communities. Members of the public are urged to remain vigilant and promptly report any suspicious activities to the nearest security agency. The area remains calm and under control, with surveillance and intelligence operations ongoing to apprehend the remaining suspects connected to the attacks, SP Tochukwu Akenga, Police Public Relations Officer, Anambra State Police Command stated in a press release on Thursday. Equilobia in Anambra State came under heavy mass shooting on Wednesday, when some of the unknown gunmen could be seen in the series of videos posted online by eyewitnesses took over the flyover bridge in the community and were seen shooting sporadically, which scared both motorists, nearby residents and other road users. It was gathered that the shooting lasted more than 30 minutes. In some of the videos, a lifeless body was seen lying inside a commercial tricycle popularly known as keke, while another clip shows a man lying dead inside a shop with a pool of blood on the floor. Anambra State Police Command, in a statement earlier issued on Wednesday, said that the Anambra Police-led security force contained a shooting incident in the early hours of today, the 9th of July 2025 at Oko and Equilobia flyover, Aguata local government area. The team also demobilized one of the armed criminals, recovered one AK-47 rifle, one automatic pump-action gun and 4 via Kenya National Human Rights Commission, KNHRC, has confirmed that 31 persons have already been pronounced dead by medical doctors attending to protesters who were attacked on Monday by Kenya's security operatives and armed militias when thousands of Kenya residents came out to stage a mass protest to mark this year's 7th anniversary, an event known as Saba Saba Day that commemorates July 7, 1990, when Kenyans rose up to demand a return to multi-party democracy after years of autocratic rule by then-President Daniel Arap Moi. The united opposition leaders called on all Kenya citizens to declare President William's Ruto government as an illegitimate regime that is an enemy of the people, hostile to the people, killing the people by thus boycotting all government functions and activities, and delegitimize the government's businesses and actions, insisting 2027 is too far for Kenyans to wait before ending the presidency of Ruto. And in a swift reaction, President William Ruto on Wednesday visited Dagoretti, northern side of Nairobi, to inspect the construction of 540 housing units project at Kilimani Police Station, and during the visit, the president addressed the nation and declared those are apparent protesters who attacked fellow Kenyans, police officers, security installations and businesses as terrorists, stressing, such acts are a declaration of war and he will never allow retrogressive elements who want to rise to power through shortcuts succeed. Opposition leaders on Tuesday accused the government of deploying unmarked police vehicles to transport armed gangs to perceived opposition strongholds during the protests. They called for a national boycott of all businesses affiliated with President Ruto's administration, accusing his government of deploying state-sponsored violence and extrajudicial killings on Kenyans. This regime is hostile. It cannot be reasoned with. It must be resisted. We will not rest. We will not retreat. We will not surrender, the opposition said in a joint statement. Jeffrey Rigathi Gachagua, one of the opposition leaders and former deputy president of Kenya, said, on the 7th of July 2025, the 35th anniversary of Saba Saba, Kenyans took to the streets to protest. Unknown to the peaceful protesters, the tired regime of William Ruto had a well-organized, state-sponsored militia working in cohort with the police to maim, kill, destroy property, and blame it on the Kikuyu community. President Ruto's ICC cases are still ongoing and were paused after witnesses disappeared. It is clear that history is repeating itself. Ruto is hellbent on finishing his unfinished business with the Mount Kenya region. To President Ruto, I say this with a lot of humility. Please stop being angry. The people of Kenya are far more angry than you are. If you truly want this to end, then restore the dignity of the payslip. When the middle class can breathe, they will create jobs for our young people. Stop the abductions, stop the extrajudicial killings. And if you want this to end, disband the killer squad. According to the Kenya National Human Rights Commission, KNHC, the Commission is still actively monitoring and following up on all reports and incidences related to the three Israeli citizens, Liran Yakovov, Natanel Aviv and Ozchai Raham, have been convicted for stealing properties belonging to victims of the October 7, 2023 massacre when groups of Hamas fighters invaded the Nova Music Festival near Kibbutz Be'eri, barely 5 kilometers away from Gaza, with over 4,400 fun seekers at the music party, and killed more than 360 persons at the music festival, which led to the state of Israel waging wars in Hamas-controlled Gaza, Hezbollah-controlled Lebanon, Iran under Ayatollah Khamenei's supreme leadership, and recently in Houthis-controlled Yemen. According to Israeli-based media, Unet News, nearly 2 years after the October 7 massacre, prosecutors asked the Beersheba Magistrates Court to impose prison sentences ranging from 3.5 to 5 years and order compensation for victims on 3 Israelis, Liran Yakovov, Natanel Aviv and Ozchai Raham, convicted of stealing property from the Nova Music Festival massacre site. The defendants roamed among bodies and burned cars, grabbing whatever they could, prosecutor Tehla Needham said during Monday's sentencing arguments. She noted that some stolen items belonged to innocent civilians who fled for their lives or were murdered during the attack, adding, they desecrated the dignity of the murdered, with bodies still lying in the area. Their actions violate the most basic societal norms. The prosecution also requested a fine of 80,000 shekels, $21,000, for the defendants. Anyone seeking to rob helpless citizens will not only lose out but pay double, Needham said. The defense disputed her claims, interrupting to argue that the accusation of looting near bodies wasn't in the indictment. Saying they were near bodies or burned corpses, when it's not in the charges, is an attempt to mislead the court, a defense attorney contended, adding that the proposed punishment was disproportionate. The act was disgraceful, but not severe enough to justify such a penalty, the defense said. Judge Shoshrit responded, it's well known there were bodies there, even on October 8. Make your arguments in turn. She added that the trio's actions were planned, dismissing claims of them being foolish or childish. The verdict is expected by late September. It would be recalled that the Times of Israel reported on November 17, 2023 that police said that they had arrested 5 individuals suspected of stealing the sound equipment from a man murdered at the Supernova Music Festival in southern Israel, where over 260 were massacred by Hamas terrorists on October 7. The equipment, worth some 2 million new Israeli shekels, NIS, $530,000, was found in the homes of the suspects and then returned to Matan Lior's father. The suspects, named as Ram Shaheen, Yasser Matni, Daniel Hassan, Adam Abu Rukn and Sun Tevel, were arrested in Karlansor, Hasfiya and Daliat al-Carmel. They are believed to have arrived at the scene of the massacre near Kibbutz Re'im after the violence died down, taking advantage of the chaos to make away with the expensive equipment that Soundman Lior, 35, had brought to the party. Police said that an indictment would. Flights at McAllen International Airport on Monday early morning were delayed for several hours as 27-year-old gunman, Ryan Louis Mosqueda, ambushed and shot at the United States, U.S. Border Police Patrol agents in Texas, injuring 2 police officers and a Border Patrol employee, the suspect was later shot dead at the entrance of the U.S. Border Patrol Federal Building. This occurred less than 48 hours when, on Saturday, a North Texas police officer was ambushed at a DHS facility and shot in the neck by 8 men in body armor. These incidents happened amid nationwide rise in threats to immigration and custom enforcement, ICE personnel and Border Patrol agents over President Donald Trump immigrants deportation policy. Local media reported that the federal agents returned fire at the suspect, identified as Ryan Louis Mosqueda, who was armed with a rifle and wearing a utility vest. Mosqueda was killed at the scene, McAllen Police Chief Victor Rodriguez said. U.S. Department of Homeland Security, in a statement on its X social media handle, stated that, this morning an individual opened fire at the entrance of the United States Border Patrol Sector Annex in McAllen, Texas. Both Border Patrol agents and local police helped neutralize the shooter. 2 officers and a Border Patrol employee were injured, including 1 shot in the knee. All 3 have gone to the hospital. This is an ongoing investigation led by the FBI. While blaming politicians for the continuous attacks on security operatives, the U.S. Homeland Security Department said, this administration is not playing games with the lives and safety of our ICE officers. ICE law enforcement is facing a 700% increase in assaults against them due to rhetoric from politicians like Mayor Bass. Secretary Noem's message is clear: if you lay a hand on a law enforcement officer, you will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. The suspect never made it inside the building but fired many rounds at the building, Rodriguez said. Mosqueda has a Michigan address and arrived in a car with additional weapons and ammunition inside, the police added. McAllen police responded to the scene shortly before 6 a.m., where the shooter attacked the federal building with an assault rifle at about 5:45 a.m., according to local media and residents. Local media added that Ismael Garcia, a 10-year veteran with the McAllen police who responded to the scene, was struck in the knee during the shootout and is in recovery, quoting Chief Rodriguez, who said it during a news conference. 3 officers sustained gunshots injuries from inside the building as bullets shattered the windows, sending shards of glass flying, according to local media. Incidents like these make us realize that we've to always be on guard to keep our community safe, Rodriguez said, adding that the officers and a Border Patrol employee who were injured, including the officer who was shot in the knee, are expected to recover. It was gathered that law enforcement officers at the scene found additional assault weapons and ammunition in the vehicle, and spray-painted writing was found on the side of the vehicle. Police is yet to provide further details of the lettering and stated that it's unknown if it's connected to Imo State Command of the Nigeria Police Force has given reasons why a suspected kidnapper, Abina Orji, who the police said his gang are responsible for series of kidnapping and armed robbery in Anambra, Delta and Rivers states, has not been charged to court since he was arrested, while condemning an ex-social media post published by an account holder named Fisayo Suyombo, who has raised alarm that the police arrested and detained Abina Orji, he described in the post as a businessman, for 8 months without charging him to court. In a swift reaction on Saturday, Imo State Police Command, in a statement issued and made available by the command spokesperson, Okoye Henry, narrated and listed the alleged crimes committed by the detained Abina Orji, saying, the kind of crimes Abina is allegedly involved in, are capital offenses that police has no right to grant his bail, and the delay in taking him to court is because the alleged crimes cut across multiple states which required more time for proper investigation. Fisayo Suyombo, who often introduces himself as an undercover investigator, had tweeted on X social media on Saturday with a photograph of the police officer in charge of the case and said, Spiola, the officer in charge of the anti-kidnapping unit of the police in Imho, has been detaining Abina Orji, a 43-year-old businessman, for 8 straight months without charging him to court. Spiola says nobody, not even the IGP, can compel him to act otherwise. And the police replied and said, the Imho State Police Command is aware of a recent misleading publication on the social media platform X, authored by Mr. Fisayo Suyombo, alleging the unlawful detention of one Mr. Abina Orji by the officer in charge of the anti-kidnapping unit, CSP Olademeji Odiyewa. To set the record straight, Mr. Abina Orji is a key suspect in multiple high-profile cases of kidnapping and armed robbery. He is an ex-convict previously remanded at the Akigwe Correctional Center, 2017-2019, over conspiracy and armed robbery charges. His most recent arrest was based on credible intelligence, linking him to a criminal syndicate involved in trafficking stolen vehicles acquired through violent crimes. Consequently, Abina Orji and his syndicate ran out of luck when they kidnapped Chief Ekena Okafor on the 15th of November 2024 and dispossessed him of his Toyota Highlander SUV, a gold necklace, and other valuables worth over 20 million nairas, after which a ransom of 10 million nairas was paid. Swift tactical operations by the anti-kidnapping unit led to the arrest of 2 suspects, Chidozie Chukwu and Uchenna Chukwu, whose confessions subsequently led to the arrest of Abina Orji, identified as a key figure in the kidnapping operation. During interrogation, Mr. Orji voluntarily confessed to receiving and selling vehicles obtained through armed robbery and kidnapping. His confessional statements significantly advanced ongoing investigations and led to the recovery of several stolen vehicles across Imho, Anambra, Delta, and Rivers states. These include a black Toyota Highlander, another Toyota Highlander with a Bonyi registration, a black Range Rover Sport, 4 minibuses, and a Toyota Camry.
Bringing you the news in a more digital way.